Welcome to the trifecta of joy, my friends. I'm joined by a magnificent soul. Today, I'm joined by Deb Porter, and Deb is on a mission to Mr. Rogers the world through teaching and practicing confidential, compassionate listening. To that end, she created HOLD, which stands for Hearing Out Life Drama. HOLD is a confidential listening service different from therapy, but outside the common circle of family, friends, and coworkers. She makes sure that her team of trained listeners helps lighten your load. Deb, I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. What a gift.
Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so when we met, I was like, HOLD, this is such an interesting concept, the idea of hearing out life drama. Tell me a little bit about how this came to be.
So I was working as a funeral arranger, and my employer changed the pay structure, and consequently, I was like, shit, now what? And I was reading a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Good book.
Yes. And so in that book, he talks about imagination. And so I began to sit with the thought of imagination. And I thought, if I could do anything in the world, what would I do? And I just sat with that, and I just let myself be 5 and have that not be scary. I got in a lot of trouble when I was 5 for imagining things.
Oh, okay. So the imagination. So you went back to the 5-year-old imagination that got in trouble for being an imagination creator, dreamer kind of thing.
Yeah. And HOLD came. I thought about life coaching. I was like, nope. And one day I was walking through my house because I was like, I could go back to school the rest of the way and, do therapy, become a therapist, certify, get that certification, because I already have a lot of certification. I have a Master of Divinity degree, 96-hour in Pastoral Care and Counseling. And I was like, but it doesn't fit. It doesn't translate well into therapy. So as I began to imagine, one day in my house, I'm walking through and I'm just thinking, and there it is, HOLD. Listen to people. Just listen to people.
Just listen to people.
Mm-hmm.
So HOLD, hearing out life drama. The idea behind this is that you offer a service where people can book and have an opportunity to just have someone hold space for them and hear out their life drama.
Absolutely.
Now, why do you see that as being so beneficial? What is the benefit that you offer in this?
Well, I saw the benefit in my own life when I was a caregiver. I was a caregiver to my spouse for 8 years prior to my funeral arranging stint. And there were days during that caregiving when, oh my gosh, I just needed somebody to hear me. And my friends, I love them so much. My family, I love them so much. Sometimes they would get pulled off of their center and they would want to fix it for me. They would want to offer solutions. They would want to help. And oh my gosh, what I needed was just to be heard. That's all I needed. Just hold space with me and just listen for a moment and let me get it out. And so ultimately, being heard, it's so beneficial. Okay, first of all, the scientific benefit, right? We already know the science proves that when we're heard, our brain changes. The brain actually changes inside. We go from the amygdala, we're able to move up to higher functions until we get to that prefrontal cortex where we can actually problem solve. But when we're in the midst of something, we can't. We absolutely can't. Being heard also deepens our relationships with those around us. It makes it so much better when we know another person really hears us. It deepens that connection. And finally, it gives a person being heard the clarity to move on. Yeah.
So let's go back to the first one. So we know that when someone is in fight or flight, we'll just go with flight. When someone's under high stress, high pressure, that you're right. Like what you described is, we go into that animal instinct, and it's a lot harder for us to see big picture, for us to feel connected. It's that sensation of needing to really, truly fight or flight, like you
Right.
said. And so being heard creates that space, right? And I love how you described, we all have people in our lives who are friends, our family, people that we know, like, and trust, that we can share things with. But often, just like you said, when people who love us hear our challenges or are really trying to hold space for us, they're also trying to problem solve it, right? To make it better for us. And sometimes we just need a place to just talk it out without working towards solutions all the time, but just to be heard, truly heard. And so what you describe is that opportunity for someone to be able to just talk it out and be heard without moving toward the problem solving in the immediate moment.
Right. If people ask us in a hold appointment to help them figure out a way forward, we absolutely will, but it has to come from them. They have to ask for it. They have to ask us. Yeah. We never just offer it.
So this is really, so it's very, very, very client-centered work that you do. It is holding space to have an opportunity for someone to truly just be listened to. And okay, so I want to talk about the process of sharing. Like, you talk about the benefit of sharing. What do you see your clients experience in after they've just come to a session or two and just shared? What do you notice in your clients?
The most beautiful thing is it really does only take about 15 minutes. And for some people, one time is enough. If they're working on one thing, it's beautiful, because I've had several clients who have started the appointment literally in tears, and I hold space with that and we let that be. And then they are able to, after we hold space with that, then they're able to get their breath and talk about it. And then after that happens, then there tends to be like this rush, right? This rush of words and the sorting. And it's so beautiful, because at the end they go, I can't believe that 15 minutes made that big a difference in my life. That was amazing. And I love that. That lights me up like you would not believe. It really does. I love that part. Because it's just like Mark Goulston says in his book, Just Listen. When someone feels felt, he calls it feeling felt. Isn't that so beautiful? Feeling felt. When someone feels felt, oh my gosh, it's like there's that burden is lifted. There's just like, later in the book, he calls it an exhale. It's like, right? You can breathe again. And that's one client said that to me. She's like, oh my gosh, I can breathe again. Thank you so much. I can breathe again. So beautiful. I get to help people feel like that. I love that.
You know what? That the way you describe that, breathe again, right? Because people, I do think that we experience this sensation of pressure, and sometimes we think like, I just need a pressure release, right? And we don't know what we need. And so being able to share what's going on, and then just have someone hold the space for you, let you share it, let you talk it out. And, we talk often about the different ways that we process. And one of the powerful ways of processing is by talking it out without even like strategizing and planning and figuring out the path forward. It is that space of presence and just letting it out. And then I just love your excitement, because this is what it's about, right? Like, when someone has that opportunity and you experience their experience of that,
right? Right?
Who doesn't love that experience of just like, I'm okay. It's okay. We're okay.
Everything is okay. Yeah.
Everything is okay. So let's talk about the value of listening. What do you want people to know about the value of listening when it comes, because here's the thing, you offer this beautiful service, right? Where people can come and they can book a session with you, and they can, with you or one of your team members, and they can just talk out whatever is going on. They have a space where someone will hear out their life drama.
Yep. Not trauma, drama. For trauma, you need, right. Because we really want those that have trauma in their life to get professional help. That's really important. And that's all over our website. It's really, really important. Yeah.
Yes. So good clarification, important clarification. You are not there to help people process trauma. You are there to help people share and experience the release of letting out and letting go of life drama. Yeah. The ins and outs, the things that kind of feel sticky or hard, or, just like you just need to vent without somebody trying to fix it.
Right.
And then you create that breathing space for them, that space where you are listening for them. And so what tips would you give people who are like, you're right, you know what? Like, listening is a skill. Listening is an important piece of this. So how can I become a better listener? What would you tell our listeners?
Yeah.
How would you suggest they become better listeners for the people in their lives?
So we're not taught to listen. There's never been a curriculum. We didn't have any in school. And so if I can just teach people one thing really quick right now, what's going to happen when you're listening to somebody is they're most likely going to do exactly what I described earlier. They're going to be upset. They're going to do a whole lot of, I'll call it word vomit. They're going to, blah, 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 blah. And at the end, they're going to go, and I don't know what to do. And at that point, when you're listening, what's really, really key is to ask the question, I hear you don't know what to do. Is that something that you want help with right now, figuring out what to do next? Or do you just need me to hold space? Mm-hmm. If I could teach people that one thing, it would change so much. The dynamics, the ripples of just that one thing would go so far. Right?
Will you please say that again? Because that is so powerful. That is so powerful.
So after people get through the word vomit and they say, I don't know what to do, if you can just simply ask the question, I hear you don't know what to do. And I'm not really sure yet if you want help figuring out what next, or if you just need me to be here with you in it. That's basically it. Yeah. And I said it differently, but you can use whatever words you want. I don't have any magic words. It's just, that's the essence of the thing.
Well, and Deb, what I love about this so much is this, you talk about help. So, in the Trifecta of Joy, I talk about, in the book, The Trifecta of Joy, I talk about help. And my acronym for help is honor, empathy, love, and presence, right? Because the true essence of helping is, yes, there are things we can do, like you said. And the most important piece is being able to be able to honor where that person is, have empathy for them in the moment, let them feel loved as another human being having a human experience, and being present with them. And so hold is just that. Hold is honor, empathy, love, and presence in that space of personal sharing. And confidentiality and safety and just allowing.
Yeah.
Allowing.
Whatever it is, whether it's anger, whether it's grief, whether it's sadness, whatever it is, it's okay. We can just hold that together. Yeah, exactly.
So now, if you have a client that comes to you that shares some things that and this is where I always get worried, is what do you do if you have a client who comes to you who shares things that are this is something that needs therapeutic follow through, or this client would benefit from, seeing a physician, or do you have those experiences, and how do you handle that?
that does get tricky, because we don't offer advice, and to tell somebody you need therapy, that's offering advice. That right there, that's pretty strong advice. And so we're really careful and gentle. And so we might say, I've trained my team to say, are you open to considering some options? And if we get a yes, then we'll say something gentle like, I really think that you could benefit from some therapy. Is that something you'd be willing to consider? I think that having an ongoing relationship with somebody to really be able to untangle all of that would be beneficial for you. And because I see Hold as a stepping stone, not to step, because everybody doesn't need a stepping stone to therapy, but some people do. I mean, I see it. So I met this woman named Patricia Kane, and she talks about suicidality on college campuses, right? Mm-hmm. And she talks about the river of the river of life, and the waterfall being that suicide ideation, right? And what we want to do is she's trying to intervene ahead of that waterfall, and I'm trying to go even farther up the river with my Hold service, so that we can like get people off on a tributary, right? We don't need to go down that waterfall. It's okay. We know it's there. It's okay if it's there, but look at the scenery over here. What can we find? How can we get that exhale, that redirect, so that we're not headed that way? So for people that are already further on down, we absolutely want to get them help, absolutely 100%. But we're not going to be able to force anyone. All we can do is offer our love, offer our compassion, and direct them to resources. So I've been compiling, as I've been working along with people, a list of names. And so people who can work, across the country. And so if somebody says they're open, yes, I'll share a name. Sure. So
that's awesome. That is awesome. And the way you described that, the river and the waterfall and then the tributaries, I think that is really a valuable illustration, because as we do journey life, we run into challenges, we run into turbulence, we run into places where we need a pressure release, if you will. And so getting ahead of the really big, massive challenges, or, the big mental health stuff, by being able to have a space to simply share and just process. Like, we talk about the value of processing things, and the challenge is that our brains don't stop, right? So our brains keep going and going and going. And then, right? And like, it's like, I'm losing my mind because I've got so much going on in my head, right? Yeah. And so Hold is an opportunity for someone to just process it out loud, right? We talk about processing on paper. We talk about there are so many different ways to process. You can journal it out. You can, talk it out. Or you can move your body to work the energy out. There's so many different ways to process things. And to be able to process it just by letting it out, talking it out in a safe space, where someone literally holds the space, honors where you are, it is empathic to the situation, is there simply to listen and not be a problem solver.
Or judging. I'm not going to judge either, right? I don't have a need to judge you. It's okay if you tell me that you had this thing and you really wish you would have done it differently, or, it is what it is. We're going to sit with, it is what it is. I don't need to judge your life. I really don't. You're okay just the way you are.
I really believe a lot of people are looking for that too. That space of just being able to let things out and not fear judgment, right? Yeah. When we're sharing with our loved ones, or, or our family members, or our friends, our people who are close to us, I think there's always a level of concern that person will judge where we are, what we're going through, or how we're seeing our own lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And the interesting thing is that I think that as human beings, we are actually our own worst critics, right? So like seriously.
Truly. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right? So as our own worst critics, when we're sharing with people that we love, we are automatically allowing our our negative self-talk or our inner critic to try and add stories because of the relationships that we have with those people, right? And that complicates our thoughts and our feelings around everything. So by streamlining it down to a service where you can just go and talk it out, you're eliminating a lot of that extraneous complication.
Friends and family are sometimes too close to the problem, and sometimes it's worse and they are the problem. Either way, we listen and it's okay and we can help.
That's beautiful. I absolutely love it. This is so cool. Okay, Deb, I know that some of our listeners are going to be like, what the heck is this? So seriously, it's really quite an incredible service because Mr. Rogersing is the way you described it, to Mr. Rogers the world, right? Like, what is it? What is it about Mr. Rogers to you that makes you say this is that space of holding confidential, compassionate listening?
I loved Mr. Rogers as a kid, and I loved how he made me feel. He made it safe for all of our emotions in his TV show. Everything was, all of the feelings. Anger was okay. Sadness was okay. It was all okay. And so when we Mr. Rogers the world, what Mr. Rogers really gave to all of us was really listening and a whole lot of love. And I just think that's really what I want to do too. If I could be like anybody, like when I grow up, I want to be like him. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. I want to be like Mr. Rogers because he made it safe for people to just be, right?
He did, no matter what. I mean, he was on the cutting edge. I mean, if you think about the cast of characters that he created in a show, he really was on the cutting edge. Truly. I mean, when he had his feet in the pool with, I forget the black man's name right now, but that was, and at the time that he did that, there were eyebrows being raised and there was like, whoa, but he was showing that we're all human. We're the same. We're all the same.
Mm.
And he could sit with anybody. I mean, children with disabilities, whatever disability, he welcomed that. He honored people for who they were. And yeah, I want to be like that.
It's true. Actually, Mr. Rogers was very, very cutting edge in the way that he embraced diversity in ability, in race, and in so many different ways to create a space where the light was shining on every human being as a human being having their human experience and being unique and important and valuable.
Mm-hmm. And valuable. And he just loved people. He loved people. And I think it's kind of sometimes as a business owner, I'm like, I'm going to talk about love. Well, I'm going to talk about Mr. Rogers and how he loved people and let people make the association because I just love people like that. Yep.
And I do too. I
know you do.
And that's what I think is so great about you, Deb, is because it really is about each individual's experience of their life and to be able to have the opportunity to create space for them to see the value in their own life. Right? That is at the end of the day, that is what it is about. It's about allowing people to see their own light, yes. Allowing people to feel safe in their own light, mm-hmm. and to know that they have so much value in being the human being that they are, even when they're going through their what the fuck moments.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because we all have them. Like, this podcast started out as lighten up and unstuck your what the fuck, because the reality is that we all have those what the F moments. Yep. And so, and now the trifecta of joy is the same thing. It is about awareness, right? It's about being aware that you need to share something. It's about befriending your inner critic and allowing the space for your inner critic to be able to have a voice too. right? Because that, I would guess, is often what happens in your hold sessions, is that people talk out and work through some of the drivel, garbage, old stories that inner critic wants to hold right in their faces. And then the last piece of the trifecta of joy is raising your vibe. And vibration and energy is everything. And what you describe as, loving people as they are, at the end of the day, hold is a beautiful opportunity for people to have a confidential space to share and be held. Deb, if people want to get in touch with you and find out more about the services that you offer, what is the best place to send them? Where should our listeners go?
Well, if they're already on Instagram, we're at Hearing Out Life Drama. And if they prefer our website, it's www.hearingoutlifedrama.com.
Beautiful. So one more time, hearingoutLifeDrama.com, yep, or at Hearing Out Life Drama, all one word.
Yeah, it's long. Sorry.
Okay. You know what? It's one word, but it is one word that is easy to remember. Hearing Out Life Drama. Deb, this has been an incredible conversation.
I'm so excited for your book.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm over the moon. I can't believe that it's real. It is so exciting. It is so exciting. And you know what? I am so grateful to be able to have this podcast that combines the pieces of the book with the podcast and amazing guests like you, so that we can talk about some of these interesting pieces that are life. And we can say, like, this is how we process. This is how we move through. This is how we create more joy and goodness and juiciness in our lives. Mm-hmm. So good. So good. Deb, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. To our listeners, make sure you go and find Deb, hearingoutLifeDrama.com. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for listening. Thank you for recognizing the value of your own life experience and the importance of listening for yourself and with yourself, and how to hold space for others when they need to move through their own things too. You are beautiful souls, and I am so grateful to be on this journey with you. From the bottom of my heart, have a gorgeous day, and until next time, all my love. Mwah!
Yay!